Joining us now is Elbridge Colby, former Trump Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense, and Victor Davis Hanson, Senior Fellow at the Hoover Institution. Great to see you both tonight. Victor, now, 2016 was a rejection of the globalism and the elite's plan for America, but what will 2024 be a rejection of?
Well, 2024 is going to be a rejection of the Biden administration, foreign policy, border, crime, energy, the economy. And what's the common denominator to this is on foreign policy, it's concession, concession, concession on Iran, on China, on all of our adversaries and neutrals. And then at home, it's print money and then call it Bidenomics a success. So it's been a total failure. One really quick thing, Laura. All these leaks about Joe Biden, about his character, about his corruption, and about his debility is all designed that he does not run again. But they're not invoking the 25th Amendment. They're not talking about removing him, which they did with Trump, because that would give us Kamala Harris. So the narrative now is he can't run again, but he's got to finish his first term so that Kamala fades into the 2024 primary for other candidates.
Now, Elbridge, speaking of Ukraine, as we were talking about earlier in the angle, I want to get your thoughts on the Biden administration's shifting feelings on cluster bombs. Watch this.
There are reports of illegal cluster bombs and vacuum bombs being used by the Russians.
If that were true, it would potentially be a war crime.
The administration is going to provide cluster munitions to the Ukrainians. What made you change your mind and decide to give them these weapons?
The Ukrainians are running out of ammunition, and we're low on it. And so what I finally did, took the recommendation of the Defense Department.
Elbridge, I'm sure they didn't care for him actually saying the United States of America is low on munitions.
Yeah.
Plus mainstreaming, normalizing cluster bombs now.
Right. Well, I think the admission by the president on 155 millimeter rounds, which are actually very standard and relatively simple weapons that we're depleting them, is a huge admission. And I'm not sure why they're taking any kind of victory lap, because the war in Ukraine, unfortunately, looks like it's going to be protracted. Unfortunately, the counteroffensive...
They're not winning the war. Is that correct? Where's the counteroffensive?
Right. I mean, they're probing. We hope they do well, of course. But so far, it seems to be pretty modest. Now, there could be a breakthrough, but I don't think that's going to decisively end the war anytime soon, if at all. And at the same time, they're going to China, and they're sufficiently provocative to be offensive to the Chinese, who believe they're trying to strangle them, but not doing a good enough job at it to actually hold the Chinese back. At the same time, Iran is moving to become something close to a threshold state. So why are they taking victory? I think a lot of it is just the optics of going to a NATO summit. It's basically the symbolism, but actually we're on a really bad trajectory as far as I can tell.
Now, Victor, to Elbridge's point, John Kerry, who I think has the most power of anyone in the administration, he's not Senate confirmed, he's heading to China to resume talks with the CCP. China's not sending anyone here. We're just going there hat in hand. What of that? And what does this mean? I mean, I've been tweeting about this, saying this is really a slow but sure surrender by the United States to the donor class and to Wall Street. But your thoughts on that?
It is. We haven't built a coal plant in over a decade. China builds 1 or 2 a week. He's oblivious to that. For John Kerry, it's all about concessions to our adversaries. He did the same thing with the Iran deal. He leveraged that deal by making us give concessions to the benefit of Iran. He did the same thing when he was Secretary of State with Russia vis-a-vis their presence in Syria. We got them back into the Middle East, and he's doing the same thing in China. It's always the United States gives concessions, and then John Kerry is the wizard who cements the deal to our disadvantage and to the benefit of our adversaries. And I think he's probably one of the most naive Secretary of States we ever had, and now he's continuing that role as so-called climate czar, and it's to our disadvantage. That's very predictable.
And Elbridge, you get the sense that when John Kerry talks about, well, we have to get used to this transition, and there's going to be capital deployed, and it's going to be great in this new era of green policies, you get the sense that a lot of these people are just setting up their next thing. They're meeting all these Chinese people. You get the sense that this is going to be a quick off-ramp to the next job for a lot of these individuals. And if China has the power, why not make the connection with China? I know that's a cynical thing for me to say, but it certainly looks like it.
Well, and I think their ideology is often more transnationalist than it is about what's best for the United States. And I think it's not an accident that the Chinese invited Blinken, Yellen, and rightly, as you said, the optics are terrible, and I'm sure they'll be just as bad with John Kerry. And I think that's very disturbing about what we're, offering to the Chinese, which is allowing ourselves to be played in this way. And of course, the ridiculousness, this whole competing while cooperating, where Yellen said healthy competition. I mean, this is not a game of tennis. That she said that this is not, the president doesn't see this as great power rivalry. It's absolutely a great power rivalry, and you can be sure the Chinese see it that way. So even if we don't admit it, that's extremely disturbing.
Have they seen the trade deficit? No. It's the largest trade deficit, and Victor, you've mentioned this before. It's the largest trade deficit we've had, I think, ever, consistently month to month to month with China alone. So a healthy competition. It's a one-way competition, and China's winning.
Yeah. Now, they call that cooperation, but it's more of the same we saw in Anchorage, Alaska. We saw with the origins of COVID they were silent about. We saw it with the balloon fiasco. We see it with buzzing our ships and planes in the South China Sea. It's always concession, concession, cooperation. The Chinese don't see it that way. They see it that they're winning. And Elbridge is right. They see it as a rivalry in which they have all the cards of advantage.
Elbridge, Victor, thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.